Hi guys, this is Alex, and I'm doing this little experiment. I'm going to start a video series for teaching concepts of Monix and Cat effect. And in this video, what I'm going to explain is bracket, resource, and how that ties into Monix and the new release we just had, 3.0.0 release candidate 2. So let's get started. What I want to talk about is bracket. Bracket was added to Task, but first let's take a look at the API documentation, which you can find on the website. So if we search for Task, we now have a pretty interesting operation on it called bracket. Okay. So bracket actually comes from an implemented instance of an implemented type class instance from Cat effect with the same name. It's called bracket, and it's meant for safe resource usage. And if you take a look at the Cat effect website, you can find it in here. So the documentation is, bracket. We have implemented these two operations also for Task, and they allow safe resource usage. You'll see what I mean in a moment. So we are going to build a simple app. This is currently a Hello World app. If we run it, it just prints Hello Alex. Yeah. So what we want to build is an application that, given a file path parameter, it prints the number of lines of text it contains. So it's like a line count, let's say. In order to do that, we need to open a file and read the text from it, and then count the number of lines of text it contains. So let's first build a function, right? So def read file, something that takes a file. Let's import java.io, everything in it, do not have any issues, and to return something like task of int, something that produces an int, which represents the number of lines of text we are going to have in that file. And normally we would, a beginner would do it like this. So first we would open the file in a new buffered reader, new input stream reader, new file, input stream file, and then UTF-8. All of this ceremony is needed for Java. And then we would do, let's say, var line string dot, no, let's say, yeah, something really ugly like do while line isn't null. So like line is read line at each step. And if line is not null, we simply increment our count, and then we return our count. Now, something like this would work. So we could say path, and we would then say we are using Scala's for comprehensions here. So we are just going to print it. Right? So this part of our code is nice and pure. Here we are suspending the side effects in task. So this function is pure, it is referentially transparent. But the logic inside it isn't pure, it's actually kind of dirty. And there's like this old best practice that says it's best to work with smaller functions that can be composed, and we can break this function in multiple parts, let's say. I mean, we have the resource acquisition, and then we have the corresponding release. Oh, I forgot about the release. Okay, I'm a dummy. So this code was actually problematic. We actually have to do this, right? Something like this. See? And Java has this nice new construct called try with usage, which works for Java. What we are going to do now is to use something similar but meant for task instead. So let's comment our ugly version out and we can say task, and we can take all of this ugly stuff here. Can say acquire bracket in, and then we've got the release part, and in the release part we are going to close the file handle, and in the use part we are going to have this piece of logic, right? So this works similarly to what we had previously. Only now we are using bracket, which has a usage part, right? Which gets executed after the acquisition, and it also has a release part. And what's nice about it is that you are forced to specify both the acquisition and the release. I mean, you just saw just moments ago how I almost introduced a bug in my code. By the way, let's test this. So if we give it something like build SBT is in the root of the project, we should count it. Okay, so build SBT has 15 lines of code. Nice, so it works. But we sometimes need to abstract, to write a function that deals just with acquisition and release. So we are opening the file, and in this case, there's a lot of ceremony involved. So as you saw, you buffer reader, blah, blah, blah. That's just plain ugly. And we want to save users from doing this themselves. So we need something that knows how to acquire and release the resource, but the use part is left blank, let's say. So we want to leave users the possibility of supplying this part right here. And as it happens, in Cat's effect, we've got a new data type called resource that does just that. So resource is basically a data type that encodes this bracket operation as a data structure. So we could say def open file, let's say file, and we are going to want a resource that returns a buffered reader in the resource context, right? And driven by task. And we can say resource make case acquire. We are going to have something like this. And then the release part that make case just make. So, and then the release part, something like this. Right, so we described a resource that handles just acquisition and release, opening and closing the file handle, and then in our read file function, we can reuse this. So we can say open file, use, and then we can describe the logic here. So this is nice, right? I mean, we've just split our function in two. So we've got the acquisition part and the subsequent release. And then we've got the usage, and the usage is separate, right? So we've got two smaller functions right now, and open file is now reusable, which is actually kind of cool. And let's verify that it still works. Yeah, it still does. So what else can we do? Well, we can build and use resources via streaming data types. So Monix exposes observable and a new streaming data type called iterant as an alternative. And both observable and iterant can be used to build resources. So we can say open file observable. I'm not being very creative here. So we can do with observable what we did with resource, because observable also implements bracket, by the way. So we can say resource case, and it's basically exactly, actually just resource. It's basically exactly the same code. And here we can also use it via flat map. But the result is going to be, actually we need map eval to evaluate task in the stream context. But map eval is flat map. You need to think of flat map. But observable has all of these nice operators that are made to also work well with task, and even the data types supported that implement CatEffects type classes. So this is basically the same thing, except, well, here we are going to have like here we have to take the first element and, you know, what was first? Okay, yeah, it's fine. So here we are taking the first element because read file now returns a stream. It's an observable, right? But it's the same thing. And here's something else that we can do, because we can now work with streams. Well, for one, we can just convert the resource above. So we can say from resource open file. And this too works. Actually, I want to verify it. Does it compile? No, it doesn't. Oh, yeah, it still does. So what I want to do is to have an observable that emits lines of text. And as we've said, we can use flat map. So we have our resources converted into a stream, and then we can use flat map on it. In flat map, we receive the resource that we want to use, or map eval, right? No, flat map. Here we receive the resource. Actually, yeah, it's fine. So here we receive the resource that we want to use, and here we create a second stream. So we can do something like observable eval read line, and then filter, no, take while. The line we just got is not null. So we can replace this entire logic here with a stream. So let's rename this to something nicer. Lines from file, and then we can simply count it. So does it still work? Oh, we no longer need the first L here. So count lines from file. Yeah, so here is our result. Great. So we've split our initial function in three, and now our code is even more reusable. And just to explain this in more detail, so a streaming data type can act as this resource data structure. This resource data structure is simply, I mean, you can think of it as a, how should I put it? So a stream is a superset of a resource. And flat map, with a resource, you have like a special operation on it called use. But with a streaming data type like observable, use is simply flat map. And the closing of the resource is simply delayed until the end of the stream. So the end of, and that end of the stream is back pressured. So I mean, due to flat map on observable being back pressured, you receive the resource, you can manipulate it how you want, and then only after all of the events have been sent, along all of the lines of text have been read from your resource, only after then um, the um, the resource will be closed due to that final on-complete event, let's say. So streams can be used for opening and manipulating resources, which is what we are doing here. And we can do the same with iterant. So in Monix 3, we are introducing a new data type called iterant, which is like a pool-based streaming data type. So observable is a hybrid between push and pull-based. So it's push-based, but it does back pressure, whereas iterant is purely pull-based, and it depends on the type classes in Cat's effect. It's a purely functional data structure, and we can do the same thing with it. So we can do iterant task resource. Can't we? This is interesting. Yeah. And, you know, we can do the same thing. Flat map, we receive an input, we receive the resource, and then here we can say repeat eval, and we can say read line, take while not null. So it's basically the same thing. And then we are doing count, so the rest of the code doesn't even need to be changed. Oh, yeah, so here's our result. So we've gone from plain task usage of Task.bracket to usage of resource from Cat's effect, and then translating that to the streaming data types to observable and iterant. And this is like, you know, with great power comes great responsibility. In general, you start with the simplest code that does the job, but then as you refactor and you make the code more modular, as you tighten it, you can upgrade to streams. You can start splitting functions in smaller functions. You can abstract over resource acquisition and release and so on. And these are like really nice facilities. So yeah, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to release more such videos in the future. So stay tuned and enjoy.